Hello, Cancer Rising, and welcome to your September Astrology and Tarot Horoscope. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're here. My name is Lisa Merrifield. I'm with Trails Edge Astrology, and my goal on this channel is to give grounded, practical astrological advice so you can live your best life. All right, before we get into your specific reading for this month, if you haven't listened to my September overview, I recommend you go back and do that first. It's only 13 minutes, and I list out the 6 astrological transits this month that I think will be the most significant for all of us. And I also put together some journal pages. So I've got the date and the transit and some spaces where you can write what you think or how the energy might show up, and then also how it does show up, because that's part of the interesting thing about astrology is really to look back at how energy does show up in your life. Astrology is cyclical. For most transits, they will come around again, and it's interesting to look at the upward spiral and what you're putting together. So I will link that here, and I will put a link to the journal page in the show notes if you would like to go get that. All right. Before we get started, if this resonates with you, would you please like and subscribe and comment and share? It helps me know you're out there and interested, and it helps the algorithm know that this is useful, interesting content. So that would help me a lot. All right, so let's talk about the 2 transits that I think are the most long-lasting for this time period, for September. And the first one is Pluto moving back into Capricorn. So Pluto's been dancing back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius for the last couple years. After November 20th, it will move into Aquarius for the next 19 years. So we have this pocket of time. I guess I should say Pluto has been in Aquarius since January of this year. So we're all getting that experience, that taste of what Pluto in Aquarius is going to look like. And as I said, it's going to be there for 19 years. So be a long haul. But between September 1st and September 19th, Pluto is going to move back into Capricorn for the last time. So for you as a Cancer rising, Pluto in Capricorn has been in your 7th house, your house of relationships. So your romantic partner, your business partner, your best friend, any of those kind of equal, committed one-on-one relationships. And where Pluto is in our chart is where we're asked to really look at how to be authentically ourselves, where we're asked to really look at the stuff we don't always want to see. Pluto puts pressure on us in order to make us the most beautiful version of ourselves. So, for example, coal turning into a diamond is kind of a Plutonian process, and Pluto rules minerals and everything underground. So the metaphor works surprisingly well, at least for me. So it's the idea that, there's coal, and with heat and pressure, it becomes a diamond. So that's what Pluto is doing for us at whatever spot it is in our chart. And for you, it just happens to have spent the last 15 years on relationships. So, so it's going to be back in. So there's some final work that you're being asked to do with respect to those committed relationships and how you show up for those. Now, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it's not going to go very far, because it's going to go into your 8th house, which is really about your karmic contracts and connections and vulnerability in those one-on-one relationships. So sometimes we say the 7th house, which is where Pluto is in Capricorn, is your partner, and the 8th house, which is where it's going, is your partner's money. So that's a real literal way of looking at it. But really, I think that as Pluto moves into Aquarius, you'll have an opportunity to look at how you are intertwined with other people, how you are vulnerable with other people, how you, how you make equitable relationships work in a more transactional sense. So, long haul here. But between September 1st and September 1st and November 19th, we have a little bit more work to do on being authentic in relationships, being our best self in relationships. So that is that's the last piece of this journal, whatever whatever is coming up. I don't think it'll be new. I don't think it's going to be something you haven't seen before. I think it's just going to be a chance to revisit it, and um, it's kind of like the final. It's like you've learned all of this about yourself over these years where Pluto has been in Capricorn. We're testing out what Pluto in Aquarius is going to look like, but we're going to go back and really apply what we've learned, I think. So see if that resonates. See how it shows up for you, and if it does, let me know, because I'm definitely curious. Always curious to know how these things show up in people's lives. So the second transit I wanted to mention is the eclipse. So we're in eclipse season already, and the eclipses this year, or this, try that again. The September 17th eclipse is in Virgo and Pisces. So recent eclipses have been in Aries and Libra, which for you has been in your public-private houses. So your career houses and your family houses. So there's been some probably work-life balance kind of being illuminated. But eclipses happen in houses for a couple years at a time, and then they move into the next house. So we're getting a little foreshadowing. We're getting our first eclipse in Virgo and Pisces. And for you as a Cancer rising, that puts it in the 3rd and 9th house. So whereas previous eclipses have been focusing on this work-life balance, this eclipse is really going to focus on your mental processing, your thinking, your communication, your exploration of ideas, and particularly the exploration of kind of abstract ideas with more concrete ideas. It could have something to do with school or spirituality. It could have something to do with astrology. The 9th house is the house of astrology. Sometimes it's travel and new experiences, and eclipses illuminate things. They show us things we haven't seen before. This is a lunar eclipse, so it's likely to change something in your heart, something on the inside, that will then have you change something on the outside. Eclipses don't always happen on a dime, so I don't necessarily expect something to happen on the 17th, but they are seeding moments. There's something churning in this space. Now, the October eclipse goes back into that 4th house, 10th house space for you. So that public-private kind of dialogue, that work-life balance kind of dialogue. And so we're just getting a taste of what this 3rd, 9th house eclipse will mean for you. And eclipses moving forward will move into that 3rd and 9th house for you. Certainly, if you have any planets at around the 25th degree of either Virgo or Pisces, this one will hit home. If you don't, it will show up for you, but it may not be as literal or as forceful. So worth note. All right, let's look at what the cards have to say to help complete this story. So I'm going to pause, grab cards, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back, Cancer rising. So we are going to read from the Dreamkeepers Tarot, and I'm going to pull a tarot card from the Chakra Insights deck. All right, so here's what we got. For your opportunity this month, we got the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles is, so Knights are all about action and movement, and Pentacles is the slowest of the Knights. So I usually say slow and steady wins the race around the Knight of Pentacles. So it's about really being stable and grounded and not moving too fast. It feels very Pluto in your 7th house, like just hunker down, do the work you need to do, take all the information in, don't be in a hurry to make a decision. So there's some opportunity to really be grounded and stable, and really make sure you have all of the information before you move on. Make sure that your gut feels ready to go before you go into whatever's next. So that is the energy of the month. Your challenge this month is the Lovers. And of course, the Lovers is about relationships. It's also about choices. So if you're not in a relationship and don't intend to be in a relationship, it can be about making decisions. And it can also be about those seventh house kind of relationships, that your business partners, your best friend, any of those kinds of people as well. So something about relationships that relation or choices around relationships is really active this month, and potentially a little problematic. There might be some challenge around that energy and that kind of space for you. And then your to-do list. What do you do about all that? What do you do about your slow energy and your relationship challenges? You are the Hanged Man. And these are powerful cards. We get two major arcana here. The Hanged Man is your to-do list, which means you do nothing, actually. You sit and you observe, and the hangman is always upside down, and usually not so much in this card, but usually there's a halo or something. This is a spiritual enlightenment card, so it does also speak to that third house, ninth house eclipse energy. Like, is there some kind of inner knowledge that could be coming to pass? Yeah, it's the invitation to be still. It feels like it speaks to this Knight of Pentacles as well. Like, there's just some invitation to not necessarily move too fast, to really check in and make sure that your instincts, that your body is in line with what your head is thinking. Like, really ground yourself, and just pause, and don't feel compelled to take relationships, or don't feel compelled to take action, particularly around relationships, since Pluto's going back there, um, until you're sure, until you really actually like are feeling it in your gut. So yeah, something about not moving too fast, really being introspective, really letting your higher self talk to you, is really important in September. And then for the chakra card, we got intelligence. And so it says education, knowledge, perception, and flexibility. And from the guidebook, it says true intelligence is an interweaving of linear and nonlinear, tangible and energetic, structure and creative flow within the mind, body, heart, and spirit. Accessing these aspects of ourselves is about taking time to uncover, remember, and trust that which is already within us. So leave a space in your mind for the possible, knowing that there are many ways to learn and grow. By staying open to new knowledge, you will see clearly the path that is calling. I feel like that is such a nod to the eclipse on the third and ninth house, because it's all mental. And so just really leaving open space, and really, really thinking about what intelligence is, what wisdom comes from within. This is a very much wisdom comes from within kind of card. What comes from within? What do we get from outside, and how do you blend those two, and just being really open. So Cancer rising, I hope this is helpful. If it was, please give me a like. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're willing to subscribe, that also helps me, helps the channel grow, helps people find me. And if you have a comment, if this resonates or not, I would sure like to know. All right, I will talk to you soon, and enjoy.